what is Nigel Farage thinking? It's been a bit of a roller coaster week here in Westminster after Nigel Farage, the Reform UK leader, announced quite sensationally that he was going to quit as MP for Clacton and force a by-election in his own seat. But exactly how did this happen?
Well, Aaron, Mr. Farage has come under intense scrutiny in the last few weeks and months, really. And that started really in earnest a few months ago when it emerged that he received a £5 million gift from cryptocurrency tycoon and Thailand-based businessman Christopher Harborne. Now, the key thing there is that Mr. Farage did not declare that, and MPs are required to declare any gifts they receive that exceed £300 in the year before they became an MP. Farage has said that it was a personal gift and had nothing to do with his political activities, and said that it was for his private security, and he's received many threats and he needs that money. Then the thing that I think broke the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, came about a week or two ago when it emerged that George Cottrell, a longtime ally of Mr. Farage, had funded staff to support him on a social media campaign before the election and has been letting him use a 5-storey Georgian property near Buckingham Palace. Again, that would be considered a gift under the parliamentary rules, and he did not declare that. So Farage is was facing 2 parliamentary probes, and that's when he decided to call it quits and do a people versus the establishment by-election.
And that's early this week. He did this really quite incredible speech, sort of broadsiding the mainstream media and his political rivals, saying they were out to get him, and throwing down the gauntlet to anyone to come and challenge him, and saying it's up to the people of Clacton to decide who is in the right here. Here at the Daily Express, we've been covering that all week, so we're going to have a chat to the whole team here and see just what is going on in Clacton and in Westminster.
The other parties have been vying with one another to come up with the most dismissive sound bites. So you have Keir Starmer describing it as a desperate stunt, Kemi Badenoch calling it a hissy fit. And the Liberal Democrats have tried to find their own way forward, actually making the argument that the by-election should be stopped until the probe continues into the expenses. So everyone's trying to do all they can to stop this being seen as a significant democratic moment.
So what is Farage's game plan? What's he thinking with this by-election?
Well, I think he was thinking that he was going to be challenged by all the major parties, and he was going to stick 2 fingers up to the establishment, stick 2 fingers up to them, and just show everyone, the country and the people in Clacton, that he's the most popular person, and he's within his rights to do this, and it was the right thing. But it hasn't played out that way, and I think he realises that. He's admitted that he's almost made a mistake, that others aren't going to stand in this by-election. There could potentially be another one in the autumn if he is found guilty by the Parliament Standards Committee. But he's going to make the most of it. He's in true Farage fighting spirit. He's going to take the fight to Count Bimface and anyone else that challenges him, and he's going to see this as a bit of a popularity contest. He's going to spend the summer, or the next few weeks at least, getting a lot of publicity around Clacton, and the attention's going to be on him. And I think that is part of a strategy as well. Last year, Nigel Farage dominated the airwaves by holding repeated press conferences throughout the summer, and all the attention was on him and Reform UK, and he's going to get it again this summer.
The question on everyone's minds, Aaron, is how does this end? There are 2 options. Either Mr. Farage wins or he loses. If he loses, then I'm afraid that on the green benches in the Commons will be a man with a bin as a lid.
Yes, and there are conversations apparently going on with MPs asking the Speaker, he's in charge of kind of what's allowed in Parliament, whether he'd even be allowed to wear the bin in Parliament. But it is a serious point that we've got a number of possible outcomes. Either Farage, and he is the odds-on favourite, he could storm the election because basically no one is standing against him, bar a few joke candidates and protest groups, in which case he comes back and he'll say, I've been vindicated, the people of Clacton have put me here and it's them that I serve, not you lot. Or there is a slim possibility, I think, that he could be winning, but not by much, in which case his legacy could be that he was the guy who nearly got beaten by a man who dresses up as a bin. And then there is the very remote possibility that he doesn't win at all. And if that case, in a way, he's probably pretty safe from investigations because they can't investigate him when he's not an MP, he would probably argue. But there are chances, I think, and you'll probably know better than I do, that there could be, even if he does win, another by-election later in the year. So how would that happen?
Well, so those parliamentary probes that we were talking about earlier, if those come through and lead to him being found to have breached the code, that could result in a second by-election in Clacton. Those are the rules. And in that race, all the major political parties who have said they will not fight in this next by-election, the first one, will take the race to him. And that could get dicey, I think.
So no matter what, even if he wins or he loses, we've got an enormous month of campaigning ahead of us, and then potentially another month of campaigning towards the end of the year. So I was saying a few weeks ago that there's never such thing as a slow day in politics anymore, and I think we've got a lot of busy ones ahead of us. So some people and critics have said this is a farce of a by-election. Why have they said that?
Essentially because none of the main political parties have committed any candidates to this by-election. You've got the fairly farcical situation of the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, saying that if Nigel Farage wants to spend the summer fighting a bin, she won't stop him. And then you've got the Conservatives, on the other hand, saying that essentially he wants to argue with a bin. It's created this farcical situation, frankly, where there's a candidate that is a bit of a joke against someone who wants to be Prime Minister. And that has led to people questioning how legitimate this by-election actually is.
You are in Clacton. What are you hearing on the ground?
There is a mixed level of support there. There's no mistaking that Farage is enormously popular in Clacton. He won the election in 2024, coming out of nowhere to win. I think it was 46% of the vote. Absolutely stormed it, taking the seat from the Conservatives. And he does still retain a lot of popular support. It's not people sort of chanting his name in the streets, but when you stop and talk to people and say, oh, Nigel Farage is your MP, almost immediately there is that, oh, we love Nigel, he's great. When you talk to them about the by-election, there are mixed views. Some people do see it as a waste of time. One man told me, he was sat on the beach eating a sausage bap, he told me it's just silly. There's no point in calling this by-election. There was another lady who was a huge fan of Nigel Farage, and for her, the money that has come into Farage has been used to keep his family safe, is how she views it, and she thinks that's absolutely fine. Others are unaware of the gift that Mr. Farage received. And when you mention that he has said that is in his speech, that is why he's going to the people, there is a mixed reception. A lot of people do ask, why do you need £5 million? But the security line does seem to work. You know, people do think that he needs that security. They understand he's a high-profile figure. Everybody has seen the milkshake incident where he had a milkshake thrown over him in the middle of the street, and they know he's a high-profile person who needs security and deserves security. But with no one standing against him, a lot of people did say, what's the point of this by-election?